Password?
4.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, why thank you.
Buy the cheap shit again. It tastes like this.
Hey, man, you can't drink water.
Look at these two fucking ass clowns walking in like they own the place.
Doing a show here.
Goddamn millennials. Welcome to the Yancy St Speakeasy.
Hey.
Episode number 15.
Hello.
Fan4stic.
Yeah.
I'm Max.
And I'm Tracey.
And we practiced.
And we actually did. Sad thing was we did sit here and practice that for about 5 minutes.
5 minutes is generous.
I stand by my word. We watched
the movie we promised we were gonna watch.
We watched the newest Fan4stic movie.
And we enjoyed hating it every moment.
It was not good.
It was awesomely bad.
I've never written or directed a movie before, so I'm usually very, very lenient. Like I'm very generous with people who produce movies, and I'm like, well, that's not fair of me to be judgy Jason about that movie because I've never done that before. I'm gonna be judgy Jason with this one. This is really fucking bad.
I'll be judgy Jim Bob.
It was judgy Jason is his redneck cousin. It was not a great movie. It wasn't okay.
No, it was extremely boring.
It was poopy bad.
It was poopy pants bad.
Oh, you watch your language. You get kids listening to this.
Yes.
Yes.
Even though it's labeled explicit, we do have children listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Because they're in this room.
Fuck, man! If you say poopy pants again, I'm gonna have to kick you out of my apartment because it's not. It's not okay not on my Christian podcast.
Enough of this smut.
Smut. I love that word. All right, let's talk about.
Smut is a very dirty sounding word.
It is. You filthy smut, and I'm like.
You can't call somebody
a smut.
No, it doesn't work like that.
You dirty smut.
No.
I'm a dirty smut. I'm a dirty smut. Yeah, so
every single character in Fan4stic was a dirty smut.
They were all dirty smuts, and that's what I hated most about it. Because again, not on my Christian podcast.
So basically, the movie started out, surprisingly, I think the kid acting in the beginning was the best acting in the whole movie.
It was, although Baby Reed presenting in front of the class definitely looked like he was reading off note cards.
Yeah, it was really, really stupid, and the teacher was a very jealous, petty little not real person at all.
All of the teachers, everybody in their life, from the point where they were presenting teleportation at a fucking high school science fair, all the way back to when he was writing advanced algorithmic equations in his notebook. It
was just one of the most unrealistic responses by a teacher ever.
Anybody I know would be like, "Oh, what are you writing there? Oh, wow, you should not be at this school. Like, you're very smart." Instead of demeaning him at every turn, like punishing him for succeeding and for showing initiative.
It was just so much nonsense. Stop
talking about your silly teleportation dreams.
Reed, the assignment was to come up with a real fuck.
Fuck you,
so
dude.
Stupid.
If you're a real teacher, fuck you.
Well, I'm sure he's a real teacher. I'm sure they hired a real teacher to play the role of teacher.
Shut up. I'm just trying to make a point. Anyway, and then baby Ben Grimm.
Sorry, my hate towards the movie is spilling over a little bit.
Your cup runneth over. It's
with smut.
With smut. Taste. What do you think smut tastes like?
Salty and
bitter.
Yeah.
Like chalky.
Like salty vinegar.
That's like too much. There's too much sodium in that.
Yes.
It would give me a heart condition. If I had a heart murmur. I don't know the real science behind that.
Behind heart murmurs?
Behind anything. We are not professionals by any stretch of the imagination, in case you haven't been able to tell. So, Baby Ben Grimm was pretty good.
Yeah, actually not bad. But here's the thing. The plot calling for scenes with Child Fantastic Four was bad.
Yes.
The actual acting,
Pretty good.
not bad for kids.
Yeah.
But why was it in the movie? And if they were going to do that, then why only 2 of them? And why didn't they give Ben Grimm any personality?
At all. Like
He had like 6 lines in the entire movie.
He was literally just Reed Richards' hype man until he turned into the Thing. Like he was just.
He was the most unhyped hype man I've ever seen.
Yeah, he just stood there. He just stood there with his arms folded, with like a little smug look on his face. Like, yep, we did this. Yep. And yeah, like did he? Besides helping him steal that converter that one time, did he actually contribute at all, or was he just there like?
It was completely unclear.
He was just a childhood friend, which completely validated Reed Richards' drunken decision to invite him to go to another dimension.
Yeah, it was so stupid. So anyway, moving on from the kid scenes, which were completely unnecessary, we went to Fantastic Four College.
The science fair.
Yeah,
The science fair is like, hey, you're really smart. Here's a Baxter Foundation scholarship.
Yeah, and my adopted daughter, who it just... Why?
I don't care so much that she was adopted.
I don't care either, but if you're gonna make that a plot point, what's the reason for it?
Yeah.
They just... It's like they said... It's like they walked down the street and someone said, adopted daughter, and they were like, oh, that's gonna be in our movie.
Yeah.
And then they were walking down the street and they saw a science fair and they're like, oh, that's gonna be in our movie. And they were walking down the street and there was a big pile of dog shit on the ground and they said, that's gonna be our movie.
Is watch Fantastic Four. Fan4stic is literally just 2 hours of a camera slowly zooming in on a pile of dog shit. It's the entire movie. It's maybe not that bad.
No, it's that bad.
It's pretty bad.
That would actually be more interesting than this movie.
We cut to college. Reed, very inconsiderately interrupting Sue Storm fucking trying to study for something or listening to music. Like that, I thought that was a very, like, kind of forced thing where she's like, Tomas wants in. I thought that was a very forced thing, where he's like, what are you listening to? Are you listening to the new cool kids' musics? And she's like, there's patterns in everything. It's just the director.
I'm so smart. I look at everything in patterns.
And I listen. It's just she made it very sort of like vaguely sexual. It's like it's the director creates a resonance, and then he just uses that, and he plays with your emotions, and he just withholds his resolution of the chords and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, I'm sure this is super interesting and everything. Tomas is getting wet food because he's a good old boy. Except he won't let me pet him. He's being a slinky kitty. And then Reed Richards just continued to like interrupt her doing important things. Just like, hi, did you see all the books in here? I like to read books, and there are a lot of books.
This book's called 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's not very well known, so you probably haven't heard of it.
Except that it's a classic
that every kid has probably heard of.
Yeah, or had to read at some point in their lives.
Or at least saw the movie.
Yep, and then we cut to Victor Von Doom, his interesting little intro with him all like he was this one that
like
allegedly
Victor Von Dull.
Yeah, he was just angry, man. He was just I'm an angry teenager who
Except he wasn't. He was like they said he'd been working on the project for 10 years, so he was like
an angry.
He was as immature as they were, but he was like almost 30.
This is true. Yeah, and he was just playing the woke dude. He's like, I seen all and I known all. I'm woke as fuck. Why aren't the rest of you as woke as me? And just hiding out in his little thing with his scruffy beard. And
yeah, and they didn't reference really anything about Latveria.
No.
There was the subtlest.
They showed his resume, and it was like Victor Von Doom from Latveria.
Yeah, there was the subtlest, tiniest little alluding to the fact that he wasn't just like the average teenager, like he didn't come from the average home.
Yeah.
But that was it, and he was just really whiny.
He was, and allegedly he had started the whole teleportation project ages and ages ago, but Reed was the only one that was able to get it to work. Then they had them awkwardly introduce each other, and he was like, "Good job on making this thing that I already made. You made it work, but I'm still better than you." Like he was just like, "I'm better than all of you." Like, it was weird having those montage sequences where everybody was being chummy and getting along, and then but you like at the same time he's like, "I'm better than all of you, but okay, I'll be friends with you, but I'm better than all of you. I hope you know."
But we're friends.
And then Johnny comes in drag racing.
So stupid.
And it's just like,
Johnny Storm likes hot rods.
Yeah.
So I mean, they pulled that from the comics.
Thomas, he fed you. It's right in front of your face.
He probably wants water, actually.
Oh, good point.
No water. Very little water.
That's another thing that people need to live is water, and cats as well. Yeah, it was that was a very unnecessary and just. Well, I mean, it's not unnecessary. It is something that he's known for in the comics and
I mean,
sort of.
You could definitely see what they were aiming for. It's just the writing was so poopy.
It was very
so poopy.
Oh, it was super mediocre, and it was and instead of punishing his son for squandering his talents, his dad's like, "You're in big trouble, mister. I can't believe it caught you drag racing again. Want to work on a multi-million-dollar government project on teleportation?" He's like, "Yeah, I guess if it means I get my car back." And I was like,
so
what the fuck?
Stupid.
It's so
God, it's so stupid.
It's really bad. And then he shows up and he's like, "Hi, I'm Sue's sister. I'm good with mechanics, I guess." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, well."
Yeah.
And then the next time you see him, he's using like the little fuser
Soldering.
Thank you. He's using a little soldering thing. Like he's soldering things into place. He's like using all his high tech equipment. He's working on circuit boards and panels and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right. So everybody that just walks into this lab is immediately a genius, I guess.
Yeah, it was just random, nonsensical, and then
Lazy,
it was so lazy, and a lot of it made so little sense. And so after they finally build the thing,
yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, we should be able to go to another dimension instead of astronauts."
Well, they sent monkeys first.
Well, yeah, but
The worst CGI monkeys I've ever seen.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Pretty bad, like early 2000s. Well, that was like all the CGI in the movie was like early 2000s.
Yeah, it was like 2002 level CGI, and
look how spoiled and entitled we are.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
demanding our high level CGI.
Look, I mean, for a big budget movie with characters as popular as this, you expect more.
Yeah, a AAA movie with AAA heroes.
Yeah, if you're gonna make a movie where it revolves around superheroes or at least characters who have these types of abilities, where you expect to see incredible things, then
Yeah.
show it to me looking incredible. Don't
Yeah.
show it to me looking like
half-assed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Human Torch looked really bad when he came out. But
Oh,
anyway,
God.
we're jumping ahead.
Yeah, probably the best looking thing CGI wise was The Thing.
Yeah, I would say so.
And that was moment to moment.
Yeah, and he wasn't wearing any pants.
Yeah, dude, Ben, put some fucking pants on. I know there's like you don't have any pebbles hanging down, but like seriously,
He did have like a weird knob.
you did.
It was like kind of like a
Yeah, I think that's what was off-putting every time I saw him without his pants, because like I feel like a rock monster without any pants on would be like okay, but his body was a little too humanoid.
yeah, like he kind of had a lump. It was
They Ken dolled
a
him.
shapeless lump. Yeah.
Yeah, they Ken dolled him. It was very strange. So cut to them being like they finished the project. They just found out that the government people were, and I love how they really tried to vilify this one government agent. Like he's like
He wasn't even a government agent. He was
part of the school board,
part of the Baxter Foundation.
Oh right, yeah, and he was like, well, we're gonna send this to NASA now, as any responsible adult would.
Right. Like, but we're gonna go, dude. You're like 17.
Yeah.
What makes you think you're qualified for interdimensional travel?
Like you're not qualified to be an astronaut. You're not even qualified to go into our own solar system. What makes you think you're qualified to go into a different solar system that nobody knows anything about? But they get drunk and do it anyway.
Yes.
Because those mischievous kids, them Harvard level, like them super genius kids, always up to those hijinks.
And then Sue Storm doesn't even go with them.
Right.
Victor Von Doom goes with them.
She gets she just gets like the backlash of the thing when it comes back.
Yeah, it's
Which is
so stupid.
really-
Why does Susan Storm not get to go?
Which is really weird to me because like all of them got the full brunt of the cosmic radiation or whatever the fuck the green shit was, and then she gets like a little bit of whiplash, like the after effect. Yet, like in the Marvel universe, she's one of the most powerful heroes.
Yes.
Like invisible, her force fields are, no pun intended, a force to be reckoned with. Like they are incredibly powerful. She has exploded people's heads by producing small ones in front of other things. She's held back like massive explosions. She's saved countless lives with them. She uses them as wrecking balls. She uses them as protection.
Needless to say, she is a very powerful character, and even if they did what the comics did and introduced that slowly, it just made no sense for her to have not gone. It just like seemed like exclusive, like it excluded her from the trip.
And so keep in mind at this point where we're talking through the plot, what took us probably like 10 minutes to go through. This isn't almost an hour and a half into the movie.
Yeah, it was so slow moving, and you know, a plot does not need to move quickly to be good. It just has to be written interestingly. So there has to be interesting dialogue, interesting cinematography.
Yeah.
You know, interesting characterization. There was none of that. None.
Nope.
None at all.
Nope. And they didn't even show, like... And the thing that killed me was they're the Fantastic Four. They are a superhero family.
Yeah, they're a family. It's not 5 teenagers.
Yeah. And, like, first... Yeah, they're a family. They interact with each other. Like, they hated Reed for 90% of the movie.
Yeah, because he was really annoying, and
then he ran away.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. Like, there
No.
was no reason for him to run away.
It made no sense. It made no sense. So after he comes back from... After they all return from the other dimension, they wake up, and they're all being sort of experimented on. And Reed manages to slip out through the ventilation shaft.
Gross, gooey body out.
And he basically ditched all the rest of them there. And then they make this huge deal about him abandoning them. And then...
Spend a year being government agents.
Yeah, but they all seem to be doing just fine, and he's living like a shit life, And then he comes back, and
because they capture him.
yeah, they capture him, but they bring him back. They don't even put him in custody or anything. They just bring him back, and they're like, okay, so let's get back to work.
Yeah.
And everyone's...
It's like
and
he never left.
Johnny Storm's like, good to see you again, buddy.
Yeah,
but, but not sarcastically. Like, he actually means it.
If you... Yeah, exactly. Like,
It's like that everyone shrugs it off.
Everybody's
like, okay,
cool with
this
it.
last year that we've been really angry doesn't matter.
Ben's the only one that's like sort of not angry. Well, it didn't feel like he was gone for a year, but it didn't feel like he was gone for... He was gone for like 5 minutes of the movie's time.
Yeah.
And if you want to build that sort of like, oh man, the prodigal son returns sort of feeling,
Then you can't make him being captured and brought back against his will. It just everything was wrong about the arc. And
the movie couldn't decide what fucking like storyline it wanted to tell.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of movie do we want to be? Do we want to be a family film? Do we want to be a superhero team up? Do we want to be a sci-fi film?
Do we want to be a teen movie?
Do we want to be exactly? Yeah, it just didn't know what it wanted. And
It never played on the romance between the romance between Susan Storm and Reed Richards was practically non-existent. There was no real chemistry.
Super uncomfortable flirting, like borderline creepy on Reed's part. Like, yeah. Which I mean, like, I'm always for girls not being objectified and everything like that. Like, it doesn't have to be about the relationship, especially since it's their first time teaming up. But
Right, they could have done it slowly. It just
there was no indication that there was no indication of it. There was no chemistry. What interaction there was that was mildly flirtatious was off-putting, and it just didn't. And
Victor Von Doom's jealousy was like really obvious,
and it happened once.
And then
he became.
And he was even creepier than Reed was.
Yeah, it's like,
well, maybe if we make Victor Von Doom really, really creepy,
yeah,
then we can make Reed just regular creepy, and he'll seem like a catch.
Yes. I think that's how a lot of dudes operate nowadays.
I guess. I don't know. All I know is that this movie only came out 3 years ago, and you would think that it came out like 20 years ago almost.
Yeah,
I mean, not 97. Not 1998.
I'd say like
let's be more reasonable. But like,
2003.
yeah, like this movie looks like it came out in like the Ang Lee Hulk era, because it's that kind of mishandling of superhero characters.
And like the thing is, like, Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stone came out in 2001, right?
Yeah, but that called for less CGI. That had a lot of practical effects.
The CGI that wasn't it was like Fluffy looked great.
Yeah, it didn't look bad. You know, there's a lot of CGI from around that time that's well done.
Yeah.
I think not every studio has access to the top quality.
Yeah.
You know, we take it a lot for granted because Lucasfilm, despite everything that they've been doing, Industrial Light and Magic is really the top-notch CGI. And so everything that Disney makes, basically Disney and, Pixar Studios and Pixar Animation and Industrial Light and Magic are really the top computer-generated imaging companies around. And because Disney owns both, they have access to those artists and those techniques for all of their other projects. Right, so everything Marvel looks amazing because they have access to that.
True.
So, but it doesn't matter because I know that if Fox had done this right, they could have made it look good.
Yeah,
I don't want to make excuses.
And it's kind of unfair because in that department, the movie does have to have a lot of that movie in that particular group of superheroes are pretty CGI heavy.
Yes,
like it's not like.
But you know what, Ben Grimm, the Thing, the original,
he was practical effect, and I loved it.
In the first Fantastic Four movies with Michael Chiklis he looks great.
Yeah, he looks great. He looks fine.
Like not incredible, but
not fantastic.
Not fan-4stic.
Yeah.
But he looks pretty good, and the character is really fun. He was probably one of the best characters in those movies, so that's my most memorable part of the movie.
Like, at least those movies were kind of fell flat for me.
I think that Human Torch looked better in the earlier ones than
too.
He looked really bad in this one.
I thought that the picks for Reed Richards and Sue Storm were not the greatest.
No, not really.
Reed Richards' character was really annoying, and really unrelatable. Yet they still managed to get married, like, even though she definitely could do better because he's so buried in his work and, like, never gives her the fucking time of day.
Yeah, but that's the Fantastic Four story.
Like, and then the at least the original Fantastic Four movie, Reed's stretchiness was more true to how he stretches in the comics, even though it was, like, more cartoony upsetting for me, where the Fan4stic, his stretching was more Uncanny Valley upsetting to me. They tried to make it realistic, but he ended up seeing very plastic.
I thought it was the idea where he morphs his face.
Yeah,
to be
I thought that was
unrecognizable. Cool. I thought that was kind of cool.
Although the CGI for him transforming was
but
really bad.
The CGI for him stretching back to normal was pretty atrocious.
He only stretched a handful of times in the movie. He really didn't do it all that much.
No.
And what he did, he didn't look very like loosey goosey, kind of how he is in the comics and he was in the first movie. He seemed very like more like a rubber band ready to snap back into place. It was very weird, especially when he was running at that dude, and that dude fired a bullet, and his body just went like off to the side, and I was like, oh, when he's booping Dr. Doom in the face.
Oh yeah, oh man, so
it's my favorite scene in the movie.
Yes, that's great. So, okay, first I want to mention
we'll get there.
How atrocious Dr. Doom looked. And sounded, and the worst part about it was like,
it was like of all the things all the things they could have done with practical effects, and they decided to make Dr. Doom's outfit the practical effects, and it looked so weird.
It looked like plastic
and stupid. Yeah,
it looked like plastic.
Like, I think they were trying to get it look like his body had melded in with, like, to become part of the planet.
Well, it was like they were trying to show that his body melded with his spacesuit.
Yeah.
With his dimensionary travel suit.
Interdimensionary.
Interdimensional. I said that the first time.
I think you said, yeah, whatever.
But so he looked really, really stupid, and he was like. His reveal was kind of cool. Yeah. Just not in what he looked like, but in what he was.
Yeah, just kind of staggering back with the hood and like, I knew you'd come back, and I was like, whoa, all right, let's see. But then they really warped his what his character's motivations are, like in the regular in the original movie and the storyline, like stupid. He wants to come back and he was already back and he just wants to use his newfound power to exert control over people, take over. Like, he has his own, like, weird nefarious purposes. He's a little bit more of a megalomaniac, kind of like, I want to destroy everything.
Well, in this one, he's essentially a god.
Yeah.
He is a god.
Of this one planet. Like,
yeah, and they're like, Victor, it's going to be okay.
And
we're going to figure it out. And he's like, no, man, I'm good. I didn't like life before, and I'm pretty happy right now.
Yeah, just send me back.
Yeah, and then...
You people... If they had just, like, thrown him back in the machine and be like, alright, go back to your planet.
They're like, look, I think maybe we should just let you go.
He would have been fine, but they wanted to run tests on him. He's like, you're interfering with me going back to my world.
And you know what the weirdest thing was? There's no rational explanation to the plot. Because when he's in that world, when he's in the other dimension, and he says, I knew you'd come back, he's like playing coy. Like, he's pretending that he's all weak. And then when they get him there, he's...
like, popping people's heads.
Yeah.
He's roasting people's heads like...
He's pretending that he's weak, and then all of a sudden, his dark... is the darkness and power coming out.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why wouldn't he just stay there?
Yeah.
If that's where he wanted to be.
He could rule... Yeah, exactly. Why would he show up?
Yeah,
he was like, oh, they're back. Well, he could have just destroyed the cosmonauts and sent the thing back. Or he could have just, like, been happy being where he was and be like, I'll just leave him alone.
It made no sense, and he's like, I'm going to absorb all the energy from this universe to create new life.
Exactly. How did he suddenly, like, Shanghai the whole teleportation thing to start sucking energy? Like, he was just like, all right, I'm going to build these 3 things and, like, the circly thing up top. And, like,
it didn't make any sense. It's like, in 1 year, you've suddenly figured out omnipotence.
Yeah.
Like, it just made no sense. And he's all-powerful, right? So, even though the idea of what he became was kind of cool, the Fantastic Four could never defeat him.
No.
And, if you actually think about it, he's way too powerful.
Yeah.
Susan Storm can't defeat him with her force fields. The Human Torch can't defeat him with all his flame stuff.
Flamies.
And the Rock Monster can't defeat him.
He's strong. He's stronger than the Rock Monster.
And then
here's
Reed Richards. Reed Richards like does like a little
I'm gonna smack him with my floppy arm.
He like does a little punch, and it kind of just looks like he bops him in the nose.
So the thing goes at him first, and the thing's like, I'm like, ow. Just get out of your system.
I'm good.
Okay. So okay, so the thing, like, is like it's clobbering time, and he, like, almost...
he uses his one phrase, which he never says any other time in the movie.
Yeah.
So it has no weight. It's like, okay, that's a thing you said.
It's a thing he says, and he just he pile drives him, and he does a bunch of like Rock Monster sumo wrestling moves, and then Doctor Strange is like psh, whatever, like swats him off. Doctor, what'd I say? Doctor Strange. Oh dang! So Doctor Doom swats him off like a fly, and then so it's like, oh wow, he's very strong, and then Sue and Johnny in the only act, even at, like, they have an emotional speech of like, we've been going one by one, we should attack him as a team, and then they proceed to attack him one by one again. They did not team up once. This is the only act of teamwork in the entire freaking movie. Is the Human Torch throws a big old flamey ball at him, and then Sue captures everything.
Yes, that's right.
She captures everything and like. And like, so there's like a small explosion going on inside this contained force field, and that doesn't
with Dr. Doom inside of it,
and that doesn't do anything to it. So here comes Reed Richards to save the day with a stretchy rabbit punch to the face,
and it literally looks like he hit him with like a. I don't know.
Just look up if you can find footage anywhere on YouTube or the internet of fucking Reed Richards trying to take on Dr. Doom just after a Rock Monster.
His face looks like he kind of like poked him in the eye with a foam finger. He kind of like looks away like why'd you do that?
Like even in the original movie, they teamed up in the end. Like even the original movie, like Reed.
Well, they eventually do to take down all the sky pillars, but it's well,
that's literally only because the Human Torch, like,
I honestly barely remember the end.
Right
I can't remember why the end got so hazy. I think I completely lost interest.
I did too. All I remember was the Human Torch, like, Hulk smashing through the things. Like, he was flying with, like, his arms out like Superman, and he just...
I don't remember. And then they sent him back, and I don't know. And anyway, in summation, this was a terrible movie.
You can't see me now, but I'm just, like, for about a third of this description, I've had my face in my hand.
Boop!
That fucking... If you can find, like, a GIF of that fucking rabbit punch to the face, please send it to me, because that's my favorite thing in the world right now.
Okay, so that was Fan4stic.
Where do we go from there?
We'll talk about some of the other stuff.
I'm like emotionally drained from how much that sucked.
I really enjoyed ripping on it.
It was really fun. I think we got... I hope you guys can hear the passion in our voices, because, God, it was a not good movie.
Yeah, bad. So, some other stuff that we've been enjoying lately, more so than hating this movie, was we played A Way Out.
Ooh, that was fun.
So this is spoilers for A Way Out, just to let you know, because some of you may not have played it, and it's really good.
Did we say spoilers before Fan4stic, or does that not?
I think that. First of all, the movie's been out for 3 years.
Yeah.
Second of all,
it doesn't really deserve a spoilers.
Second of all, it's going to be in the title and the intro, so I think people are going to understand that we're going to talk about the movie. That's 3 years old, so I'm not really worried about it.
4. Boop. I can't.
So, A Way Out is a very cool game.
Very cool, cooperative, third-person
Yes.
jailbreak game.
So it starts off with two characters you know nothing about, Leo and Vincent.
Yes.
And
I was Vincent.
I was Leo.
He was. We were both Leo. Actually, we were the two Leos. We were the two Leos walking around with our big old jackknife noses.
Yes. Pecking at stuff. The noses.
It's just like he just walks on screen and goes. Vincent's like, "You want some seeds? You want some seeds?" He like spreads them on the ground.
That's right around the prison yard, and Leo's walking around.
It's the entire game. It's the entire game. It's very well done. It's interesting. Like in terms of player control. Not the most, like, there's a lot of cutscenes, there's a lot of, like, where the game will kind of rip control out of your hands to show you a cool thing,
But, you know, basically, the great thing about this game wasn't really the actual, you know, physical gameplay, it was the story. The story... Which was amazing.
It's a very linear, very story-driven gameplay. It does have a good amount of replayability because there are multiple choices that you can make as either character, which I enjoyed, and I would like to play it again and, like, to do all the opposite decisions.
Basically, at a number of different places, you have the option to do things Leo's way or Vincent's way. And Leo's way...
is always...
It's a little bit more reckless, and sometimes it's really fun.
Super fun. Oh... That was I think the first instance of that was whether we decided to steal the cop car.
The first instance of it,
and
it was amazing.
We both called it.
So, you know, after you break out of the prison, it's one of the very first times I think it's the first time you have a choice of how to do each thing. And I was playing as Leo, and we come up to a bridge where you have to get across the bridge somehow. And there's a police officer standing next to an open door police car.
And then Max goes, we should steal that car.
I say, I bet we have to knock this guy out and take the car.
And then Vincent kind of walks in the screen, and the camera pans out a little bit, and you see a chain link fence that's sort of open. It was like, now we're gonna sneak through the fence, and then it gave us the fucking option.
And then Leo says exactly what I said, and Vincent said exactly what Tracey said.
And we were both like, ah. It was so...
we had fallen very deeply into the game.
I'm very much in love with the game. It was super fun. The cooperative gameplay kept it, changing it up, kept it fresh. It wasn't like the same.
It was not hyper repetitive, really.
No, yeah, which I've found to be an issue in cooperative games in the past. Like I think anybody has.
In most games, they tend to be very repetitive.
Yeah,
and they kind of managed to not do that. They had a whole bunch of like really fun little mini games, like just silly things like who can balance a wheelchair the longest.
We spent way too much time playing that.
Who can do the most push-ups?
Oh yeah, the pull-ups and the dip bars, and then darts and Grenade Brothers.
Grenade Bros.
Oh, that was so good.
So anyway, we really, really enjoyed the game, and when we got to the end where the twist is that...
Spoilers.
Massive
spoilers ahead.
Massive spoilers. Basically, if you ever want to play the game, skip ahead about five minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good amount of time, because there's a lot of baggage to unpack in this
I'm going to quickly set a timer so that when 5 minutes goes off, we are not talking about it anymore.
Okay.
Go.
All right.
Go.
So basically, it turns out that Vincent was a undercover police officer the entire time. He was doing like this whole sort of undercover sting operation. His brother was the one that gets murdered in front of Leo when they were trying to trade the diamond.
Yes, Leo and his partner Harvey stole a diamond, very, very expensive one, and were trying to sell it. And it was a sting operation, which Harvey was not aware of.
Yeah, that Vincent had coordinated, and his brother was the one that
was the deep cover.
Was the deep cover.
And Leo and Harvey are selling this diamond. At last minute, Harvey says, "I'm taking the cash and the diamond," and he shoots Vincent's brother, not knowing that he's a police officer.
Yeah, and Leo wrestles the gun away from him, but Harvey knocks him to the ground, gets in the car, and almost runs Leo over in the process.
Yes, and so then Leo is unconscious and wakes up in police custody. Later, Vincent decides to get to Harvey and the diamond. He's going to go deep cover in prison and try and win over Leo's trust, which he does very successfully. They create a very powerful bond between these two characters.
That's what hurt so much.
It made me feel like more close to Tracey. It does a really good job of making you feel like you're working together and like really helping each other out. And I think even though the actual gameplay control is not super interesting, the dialogue is great and the story is great and the visuals are very cool.
Yeah, I think the whole thing's done on like the Unreal 4 engine, so it looked really beautiful, really well realized areas that they kind of gave you as playgrounds to run around. And like I said, all the people to talk to, all the weird little activities to do, playing baseball, arm wrestling, anything like that. The finale really turned the tables on you, where the first 95% of the game you've been working together, been like creating that bond. All of a sudden the window is shattered, your reality is shattered, the tables are turned, and now you actually
they are forced to fight and kill each other.
And the whole time we were just like, we gotta fight each other. I don't want to do this, but we like kind of got into the competitive spirit of it
a little bit, yeah. And then Tracey murdered me. Tracy murdered me and left my son without a father. And my wife.
I wish I had died. I honestly, that was so fucking sad. Yeah, you have this big dramatic shootout in this old warehouse, and
then it boils down to punches. We literally beat each other to death.
And it was really sad because like it goes from a shootout where you're kind of chipping away at each other's house, and then health bars, and then you end up at the top of the building, and you are like holding R2 to punch your buddy in the face, and every time you punch them, you get a flashback to them like being with their happy family, and I'm just like,
it's so.
Oh, it's gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It's morbid.
That was so sad.
It's grim.
Yeah, I mean, that's one that I'm really depressed we didn't get to do in the future when we do a game channel, a gaming channel. I would love to see that. I would have loved to play that for you guys and get our honest reactions to it.
Because they were some great reactions.
But I totally murdered Max, and he's dead now, and I own the podcast, and I own his apartment because that's how this works. But I was really sad. And then Vincent had to go break it to his wife and child, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, come on. I'm like, no. And then he like goes home to his cold wife, and she's like, maybe I'll let you back into my life. And I was like, this was terrible. All right.
So, yeah, we're going to call it now. Spoilers are over.
About four and a quarter minutes.
Spoilers are over, and I just wanna say, in real life, I will never ever let Tracey play basketball with my children. Because
just dunking on this kid the whole time. It was so good. I'm gonna get a drink.
Okay, I think I'd like a drink too.
Would you like my rum, or would you like your whiskey?
I think I'd like my whiskey.
Where is your whiskey? Is right here. Is it
You found it.
The Basil Hayden's.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not a screw top. If you screw it, it's just going to go in circles for eternity.
Maybe I want to screw it. Ha! Because I'm a silly man.
It's like a childproof top where you spin it and you spin it and you spin it and nothing happens.
Nothing happens, but you're entertained because your hands are doing something.
That's why I play with my balls all the time.
they're like the little clackers. You just like hold them like your fleshy
Chinese stress balls.
Your fleshy clackers. That's how I'm gonna refer to my balls from now on.
Your fleshy clackers.
Your fleshy clackers and my oh man, what do I name my penis? Steve. Steve and the Fleshy Clackers. That's our band name. Do you want ice?
No, thank you, sir.
You want it neat? I kind of want it neat.
So, A Way Out is something we also enjoyed.
There you go.
Sound familiar?
That whole auditory. You gotta appeal to all seven senses.
Can you smell that rum?
You gotta appeal to all seven senses: sight, smell, sound, touch, taste,
sass,
and blurb.
Good. All right.
Good.
Going very well. So we've talked about the Fantastic Four movie, which we hated. We've talked about A Way Out, which we loved. Let's talk about
Iron Fist.
the Marvel Netflix that you've been watching for the first time.
Oh God.
So yeah, it's not good.
This is the cork, right? This isn't twist off.
Yes. Having a hard time there, Tracy?
I'm having a hard time.
Is that whiskey too manly for you?
It's too manly. Tell me when.
Not as much as yours. That's good. That's already good.
Make it. You shaming me on our show.
I'm not shaming you.
You're shaming me. I'm getting shamed right
Well, you don't have to be to work at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
This is also true. I mean, I will be working tomorrow on numerous different things. Me typing up my master's project some more, and I'm gonna be starting I'm gonna be bringing our storyboard
To life.
I've been practicing on.
Let's talk about that in a little while.
Okay.
Let's talk about Iron Fist.
Gonna.
No.
I just want to make.
Nope.
I want to make a fist joke. He punched him with his hand, or maybe his fist.
Such great dialogue in this show.
Love
the moment where Danny Rand. For all of you who don't know about Iron Fist, we'll spoil.
It is definitely the weakest of the
Marvel Netflix
by
far.
Netflix heroes.
But Danny Rand is a spoiled little bitch who gets lost in Kunlun, a monastery of monks who practice kung fu. Who teach him kung fu.
I sent a Snapchat of some of the art that I did today to one of my friends back in Pennsylvania, and he replied, "Are you still being all autistic with that drawing and whatnot?"
Wow.
And I'm like, oh,
You're not a good friend.
Now I remember why I left Pennsylvania.
You said sent it to a friend? Doesn't sound like a friend to me.
I'm sure he was joking, but I can't tell sometimes.
That doesn't sound like a joke. That sounds like being mean.
He's calling me mentally unsound.
Yeah, he's basically being mean and saying, but it's a joke, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's still mean.
Haha, you're retarded, but just kidding, but it's okay. Haha, retarded. I like the word. Everybody at home, whenever I go home, people always use gay, fag, and retarded in like the worst possible ways, and I'm like, dude, and they're like, I'm joking, and I'm like, but still, stop.
People, we've got a lot of. I'm from a similar region to Tracy.
Yeah.
Like, we're not from the same place, but the mentality is similar.
Yeah. So, yeah.
A lot of ignorance.
In case you guys are wondering, I still am being all autistic with my drawing and whatnot. So, if you want to see my autistic drawing and whatnot, my Instagram is Viva La France, VIVALA, and then the country. But instead of an E at the end, it's a 3 because somebody already took that username. So, Viva La Frank, and then a 3. And I'm going to be posting all of my daily artwork, superhero stuff, celebrity art, stuff that my friends have commissioned me to draw. I recently got done with the cover art for a vampire novel that's going to be coming out on the internet. I can't remember. what it's called, but
I love how I was like, hey, let's talk about that stuff in a minute. Iron Fist, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about this stuff.
well, it came about organically, so you know. Hey, what's our website? maxdean.org.
It's maxdean.org.com.
.com.org.
Let's not confuse people. It's maxdean.org. You can go to maxdean.org, a lightly developed website, and listen to all of our podcasts or on iTunes.
Oh, don't joke yourself. It's heavily developed. We're in the final stages. Kitty. Is that Kira?
Yep.
Sounds like Kira. Kira! How's it going? What's up, kitty cat?
So, you can visit maxdean.org and see some of Tracey's original artwork.
I'm gonna draw Max's cats so people can get a better visual representation of the cuteness that we deal with on a daily basis.
Yes, no one has yet contacted us with fan fiction of Tracey with my cats.
Just be really careful because her tail is like, okay, never mind. He's in a rolly chair and her tail had decided like wrap around one of the wheels.
Yeah, she likes to live dangerously.
She does. Kira is one sassy kitty. Okay. Yeah, so...
you can see images of Tracey's artwork for both original characters and some more popular characters, some Marvel characters, some DC characters.
Been drawing a lot of Wonder Woman lately.
So I guess we can just continue on and do Iron Fist in a few minutes. But
sure.
So basically Tracey and I are working on... We've kind of called it a graphic novel at times, but essentially, ideally, what it's going to be is monthly released comics with a number of different series, all in the same universe.
Yep.
And so we're working very, very hard on building that up as it is right now.
With what little free time both of us have.
Yes. I've been writing these characters and stories for quite a long time. Tracey is doing a tremendous job with a lot of concept art, bringing these characters to life. And now what we're doing at the moment is working on all of our storyboards to, we have a look behind the curtain.
Yeah, we have the first issue almost completed in our storyboards, and I've made attempts. I'm struggling with the software a bit. I deleted most of my. Kira.
You're a very cute cat.
Kira, you are very rude, but you are cute, so I'll allow it.
So, yes, Tracey is transitioning from pencil and paper to an iPad Pro because that's going to allow us to do a lot more work in a significantly less amount of time. It's going to allow us to transfer files and do all kinds of cool stuff in a much more streamlined way, but there's a bit of a learning curve. There is, and what he's doing looks great, but he's been doing a lot of accidentally deleting.
I accidentally deleted about 4 hours worth of work today, and I'm very upset. And it's gonna be a push to restart all that tomorrow.
But don't be disheartened, Tracey, because what we're doing is fucking cool.
It is. It's coming to life, man. I'm feeling better about it every day. It's when you first posited it to me, and you're like, "Hey, let's do this," and I was like, "Yeah!" And there was an immediate drop off afterward. And I'm like, "Can this actually happen?" But like, we put our nose to the grindstone, and we actually are making some stuff happen.
Yes. Yep. And I'm reaching out to some other artists as well. I think it'll be kind of fun to let people know how this is going.
Yeah, and we want to have a couple different art styles. So there's going to be my. If you guys haven't seen any of my art, it's pretty. I started off with realism, so I can, if you put a thing in front of my face, I can pretty much draw it pretty accurately. But my style is very heavily influenced by just kind of the stylized graphic novels and
which works perfectly for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was. I think it was funny because I think we had talked about this maybe back on episode 1.5.
Yeah.
The secret episode where there's some basement tapes. There's some genuinely secret episodes that have never been released. of Tracey and I doing our basically trial recording sessions.
Yeah.
And him discovering that I was writing comic books without an artist, and me discovering that he's a very proficient comic book artist.
I forgot about that, honestly.
And both of us getting very excited. So maybe someday we'll release that.
If there's any sort of demand for it.
There will be.
Yes.
Because I'll demand it.
I demand we put out this thing that we made.
So eventually those deep underground recordings may come to light.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone. They're hurting me by not putting them out there. People need to know.
Well, we just told them.
People need to know. All right. So
and then also, please email us at maxwelldean. That's D as in dog, EAN as in Nancy. maxwelldean at maxdean.org.
Yes.
Because we would really love some fan interaction. I want to do. We wanted to do this before, but I think it may have slipped past us. But we kind of have a good feel for a lot of the people. Like, we may not know every listener in every state, but we know at least some listeners in all the states, except for Idaho. We've got some listeners in Idaho, and I don't know anybody in Idaho, and Tracey doesn't know anyone in Idaho.
Who you calling Idaho? Who you calling Daho? I already made this joke today, but it's coming back again.
It was just as good now as it was then.
Eat a potato for us, Idahoans, Idahoites.
Thanks for supplying Five Guys.
Thank you. Oh my God, for real though. Well, I have serious addiction to that restaurant, to that delicious food establishment.
So please, if you're from Idaho, send us an email, because we would absolutely love to find out a little bit about you.
Please.
And what you like about our podcast,
and what you like in general. We'll talk about what you like in general.
You've downloaded more than once.
Yes.
So
yes.
You must have enjoyed something.
Yay! We love our Idaho listeners, love our Oregon listeners, love our Florida listeners, Pennsylvania listeners, New York,
Ohio, California, Texas,
Beijing,
Florida. No, there's no Beijing listeners.
Yet. Yeah, maybe by the time we release this episode, there will be. I'm trying to think in the positive, man. Positive thinking's half the battle. As I pull cat hair.
I saw the cat hair in your mouth.
It's like,
I didn't say anything.
Kira, all three of them are shedding like crazy.
Yes. But so
spring has sprung and it's wreaking havoc on my sinuses.
Yep. Key West is a remarkably allergenic little city here. So that's a little bit about what we're doing right now. I think what we'd also like to do, I would love to do a Let's Play channel.
Yeah.
Right now, it is a little bit difficult because we're doing this podcast, we're doing our comic books, and I also work... I don't even know, around like 60 plus hours
I know,
a week.
like, we don't even have time to play video games for our own enjoyment.
Yeah.
We barely had enough. I'm trying to get Max back into the video games that he's been missing while he's been kind of out of the electronic arts loop.
Yes.
And
sometimes I say yes, and sometimes I say, man,
yeah.
I really want to finish editing this podcast, or I really want to work on the comic books.
I really
need to get some sleep.
Yeah, exactly. I have all of these really interesting, fun, story-driven games or cooperative games. I'm trying. I picked a way out because that was a short one. It was a fun one. It was something.
And I'm really glad we did it because it was really great.
It was a great story, great gameplay, fun camaraderie, all that good stuff. We barely had enough time to finish that one by ourselves. I got him just barely started into one of my favorite games of all time, Inside, made by Never Dead Studios.
Yeah, and it seems really cool. I mean, we played it for
a good hour or so.
Yeah, and probably close to 2 hours. I'm not sure, but
we almost fell asleep, slumped in our seats during that one though, because it's the thing about that one. It's a quiet game, and I've played that game umpteen times, and I still I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the plot is about, and so I'm using Max Keen narrative eye to help me try to actually pick apart what that very abstract plot is. And then the other one that we started playing but almost immediately gave up on because it didn't hold either of our interests long enough. But I've played it and I've watched other people play it before, so I know all about it. It's Doki Doki Literature Club. Became an instant cult classic on the internet because it's a very upsetting psychological horror game masquerading as a very cutesy, a very cutesy sort of
Cliched manga.
Cliche like manga story simulator kind of like click.
Basically, I knew that because Tracy's played it before and he was very keen on showing it to me. I was trusting his judgment.
Yeah.
And
we ended up playing it for about an hour and a half.
I don't even know if it was an hour and a half. We probably got pretty close to an hour, and I was really struggling to get through it, but I was trying to be patient, and then we ended up having to go do other stuff.
Food.
Yeah, we had to eat and do some stuff, and then the next day when I got home from work, Tracy was like, "Hey, so we're just gonna give up because there's like more than 2 more hours of
regular stuff
of this before it gets to the good stuff, so I'm just gonna spoil it for you."
So I told them all about the scary parts. I told them about Sayori's horrific death and her horrific suicide and all of the rest of the girls' weird things that goes on. Basically, Monica is a evil AI that's controlling not evil, but just like a kind of a sentient AI that's controlling the entire game, and she's aware that you're a player, and she'll take control of the game's files and manipulate them to her own means and stuff.
Seems like a really, really interesting premise.
It is.
I think it sounds very cool, but
dude,
again, pure time.
Yeah.
Pure time that I have to invest in these things.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen one of the probably dozens of things on the internet about it, data miners have gone pretty deep into the game's coding, and they've ripped it apart, run it through all of these means of analysis, like wave patterns and reversing coding items and stuff like that, and it basically amounted to Team Salvato was using Doki Doki as sort of a attention grabber / money sort of money to fund their future exploits, because they are planning on making a psychological horror game starring all of these characters that they've introduced in Doki Doki. And Yuri, Monica's going to be the hero, and Yuri, I believe, is going to be the villain. So Good on you! What a fantastic marketing strategy.
Okay, so before we run too much longer, let's do some Iron Fist.
And then we'll wrap it up.
Then we'll wrap it up.
Iron Fist. Maybe we shouldn't do it now because I haven't actually finished it, but we can.
It's okay. We can talk about up until this point.
Yeah, we can do an episode maybe on all of the Marvel.
Yeah, we can
TV series.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We'll
just talk a little bit of shit about it right now, and then we'll sign off.
First impressions. People have told me it's the weakest of the entries. People have told me that it's garbage. So I went into it with very low expectations. It wasn't nearly as bad as I was expecting it to be. It's not great, but it is a very okay show that occasionally has moments of awesome.
Yeah, very occasionally. But mostly, the thing that holds it back is the writing.
Yeah, the writing is very bad.
That is perfectly exemplified in one of the things we were about to mention, which is, at one point, Danny uses his Iron Fist to punch the metal doors off of the back of a semi.
Yeah.
And he jumps out of it. And a little bit later, Madame Gao, a member of the Hand, is questioning one of her followers as to exactly what happened. And he said, he used his hand to punch through metal. And she says, his hand? Or was it his fist? It's like, it's so terrible because, I mean, it's just... and the guy literally says, the guy looks as confused as I felt as a viewer. He just kind of looks at her and goes, I guess.
It was like one of those moments where where like from Infinity War where Thor's about to hold open the eye of the star, and Peter Dinklage is like, "You're about to take the full force of a star. It'll kill you. Only if I die. Yes, that's what kill you means."
Yeah.
And it's like that sort of moment, but the show wasn't self-aware.
Yeah,
about
it wasn't doing it on purpose. It's just like, I feel like the actor kind of like, he was like, I guess. But it's like if you say he used his hand to punch through something, a fist is completely implicated. It's just really putrescent dialogue.
Putrescent. Wow, what an SAT word, man. I'm gonna add on to that.
That it was a poopy. Poopy.
No, I'm just gonna throw. No, let's have a quick learning segment. So, what'd you say?
Putrescent.
Putrescent. What a great putred. What does that mean? Like, I mean,
Putrescent
putrid.
means,
Like
yes.
detestable.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, it basically means very similar to putrid.
Yeah, like gross, detestable.
Yes.
Here's another one for you. Actually, here's a 2-for-1. Mellifluous and euphonic. Both mean pleasant to listen to. There you go, kids. You're welcome. So you can surprise your parents next time you're at the dinner table, and they're like, "Hey, Billy, what did you learn today?" And you put on some music on your phone or Zune, and you'll be like, "I listened to a piece of music, mother and father, that was very mellifluous, nay, euphonic today," and they'll be like, "Ooh." That's how my family dinners went.
Or they'll be like, "Shut up, Billy, stop sounding like a fucking arrogant prick."
You still listening? You still learning that autistic things like vocab and stuff? People. Anyway, yeah. So that whole thing was just like a clusterfuck of a sentence.
Yeah.
The writing is very weird.
It's not good. It's not good because Madame Gao is actually a really interesting character, and they did her no justice.
They made her seem simple.
They made her seem simple, like mustache like. It's really bad. It doesn't get any better.
You love that phrase, mustache twirling.
Well, it's like there's no other phrase that quite grasps someone who's like an evil character for the sake of being evil.
Exactly. Just a megalomaniac or
yeah, they don't even have to be a megalomaniac. It's just like
a maniac.
It's a character who exists for no other reason than a bad character in this story.
I am evil.
Yeah, you know.
Because that is how I was written.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know.
I have no motivation. I just want to do bad.
I mean, they kind of try and recover from that in The Defenders a little bit, which Tracy still hasn't seen, so I won't spoil it for him. But Iron Fist does not get any better. It just gets more convoluted.
Spoilers.
And more nonsensical.
Spoilers. I did, however, earlier in that same episode, I adored the dinner scene.
Oh my god,
where
he
has like these people randomly come in and cater at the dojo, and he's there, and is it her name Laura? That's in every single season.
Oh no,
every single season.
Rosario Dawson's character, Night Nurse.
Night Nurse. Dang it. I can't remember.
No, just keep talking. It'll come.
Yeah, I can't remember her character's name, but she decides to stick around with Iron Fist discussing like what they're gonna do about the shipments coming in on the pier and everything, and it was wonderfully awkward. And I actually do applaud the show for throwing that in.
I'm not totally sure.
Oh, you don't think it was like self-aware humor?
I don't know.
You just think it was like, I'm sticking around.
I mean, I think they kind of knew, but it's like... I mean, no, it's self-aware. They knew that it was awkward, and they were playing on that, but...
It just wasn't pulled off as well as it could have been.
Yeah, it's just... It was really weird. Like, the awkwardness was in Danny's intent for it to be a date. But then they made Rosario Dawson's character be like, I would love nothing more than for the rest of my lesson to be staying and eating with you guys. And that's not her character at all.
No, her character is very, wise.
Yeah, she would be like...
Oh.
Yeah, she'd be like, well, she would say something like, well, I'll just leave cash for half the lesson on the table and I'll see you next week. That is what her character would do. It's just weird.
And also they kind of play it up to make it seem like Danny was planning on it being a date. And then but then later he's like, no, I'm a celibate. And I was just like, okay.
It's so awkward. The whole show.
I swore off romance, and I'm like,
it's like, what are you, a Jedi? Shut up.
Ha.
And then later.
I mean, Jedi are heavily inspired by Shaolin and
I know
everything.
But I was just.
Stop making me seem stupid.
Then later, the daughter of the dragon goes like, I'm sorry that I misinterpreted your dinner as a date. And then Danny says, as my monk teacher once said, or always says, one never knows one's own true intentions. That's this most unwise phrase I've ever heard.
You're just
no monk would ever say that. It doesn't make any sense. It's like
you walk into a room and scream fire, and people are like, "Why did you do that?" And you're like, "I don't know," and leave. As a wise monk once said, and they're like, "No, you're going to jail."
It's just stupid. It's like I feel like the entire show, all 13 episodes, were written in one Adderall-fueled writing session that lasted 8 hours. So everything they wrote, they're 7 hours into a crazed writing session. Every single thing they put down went through as final draft dialogue.
They're just like, well,
a monk would.
What if they pull
one
out?
never knows one's own true intentions. A monk would say that perfect. Let's move on to the next one.
What if the ninjas all pull out hatchets? Cut print. It was okay, and I will. One of the saving graces of the show in its very limited fight scenes so far, as far as I've gotten into the show, when he actually does use his powers. Pretty freaking cool. When he actually does get into fights, 90% of the time it's really freaking cool, except that one time where he fought the dude in the back of the truck, and it took it took him 2 minutes to dispatch an entire team of assassins from the triads. It took him 5 minutes to dispatch one dude in the back of a truck.
Yeah, in that show, his skill level with martial arts is extremely inconsistent.
Yeah.
At some points, he seems like he's a complete master, and at some points, he seems like...
A dork.
Yeah, a complete...
A dork that watched too many Bruce Lee movies.
Yeah, and if you are powerful enough in Kung Fu that you won the right to obtain the Iron Fist...
He's such an anime character.
Yeah.
You ever think of that? He's
yes,
such,
he is. It's like
he's a lovable goofball, but he's it's a little too over the top for such a gritty feeling show.
They even play on that later... I won't spoil it,
okay.
but yeah, no, I didn't think of that before. But he is very much as a teenage anime character,
yeah.
But it's not. It doesn't come off well because he lives in the same universe as all these other really gritty characters like Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Kingpin and
everybody's
and
still,
the Punisher.
Yeah, everybody still really struggles with killing people.
And it's just...
Except the Punisher. Yeah. Which is why I'm really looking forward to watching.
That's a great series.
I'm looking forward to watching his series because that's the thing that does annoy me about some of the Marvel some of the Marvel Netflix series is and this bogged down everything past the first season of Arrow as well. Is every episode is a moral quandary. Is should I kill people or should I not kill people? And
it just becomes the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and stop.
You can use that as a greater theme throughout a show,
or you can have an episode. You can have an episode or two be centered on that, where it's
Yeah.
like where like the characters' ideals are changing or something like that. But you can't keep bringing it up. You can't
like every episode or every other episode.
It can't carry into the next season. Get your shit together, dude. You gonna kill or you're not gonna kill? Like I will understand it either way. I will eat it up either way.
Yeah, right. You know, I mean, despite what we personally believe, you can still make interesting, you know, content either way.
Or you can be like, I'm not gonna kill unless they deserve to die. This person deserves to die. Okay.
And yeah, and part of the fun of watching is deciding how you feel about that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you don't need to be spoon-fed it the whole way.
Thank you. This is why you're my lover.
I'm gonna.
I was like, I'm usually like really suggestive about. I'm like usually like coy about it. This time I was like, yeah, we fuck.
I will start editing this out if you don't get better about this.
That was bad. It was really bad. All right, we're professionals again.
So time to sign off. We're gonna plug ourselves one more time.
Oh baby.
Actually, we've been pretty plugged this entire episode.
Oh, you know it.
So
deep.
So come visit Tracy's Instagram at Viva La Frank 3.
So yeah, Viva La France, but the E at the end is a 3.
Come visit maxdean.org to, you know, there's going to be a lot of stuff on there very shortly. At the moment, it's not too much, but you can definitely see some of Tracy's original artwork and some of our concept artwork. Mm-hmm. And please email us. Please, you know what? One thing that we haven't asked anyone to do that we would really appreciate as well is please leave us a review. Leave us a review and rate our podcast. If you like our podcast, we'd like you to be honest, for sure. But if you do like our podcast, we'd love a 5-star review. It makes a huge difference in the amount of people that will come across or stumble across our show in the future.
Yeah, please. So. It means a lot to us. And if we're not doing great, tell us what we can improve on, or just so we can have a good cry.
Which we can either put on air or off air, whichever you prefer.
Like, comment, subscribe if you'd like to hear us like actually break down.
Yeah, because we might be able to make that happen.
Break down.
Go ahead and give it to me. All right, so subscribe, leave us a review, and give us a rating, and please give us some personal feedback at maxwelldean@maxdean.org.
Yeah, and subscribe to my follow my Instagram account. Like my stuffs. I am doing art commissions. So if I'm gonna be posting stuff about my artly rates, letting you know what how much you're gonna be paying for that stuff. Backgrounds are not my forte, so they will be considerably extra. So it's a lot of figure stuff right now, and
that he is very good at.
I love drawing the peoples. I'm getting better at drawing the backgrounds. And so.
All right. Well, this has been Fan4stic
in the place
at the Yancy St Speakeasy, along with a few extra things.
Yeah. The place where the light meets the sea. It's blinding. Now I know it's time to end this show. So I watched Moana really recently. I love that movie.
Still never seen it.
Oh, dude, we should watch it. Want to watch Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson be an animated demigod?
Maybe.
Kind of.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Fantastic movie. Lin-Manuel Miranda, you're a genius. That movie has amazing music. All right.
You ready for your usual mouth garbage for our sign-off?
I think we already did it.
Good.